presented, and then I'll show you how for this assignment how you can do it. I'm not judging anyone on their art skills or their I don't know, drawing, like any of those types of skills. What I'm really looking for is the fact that you can tell a story in a specific type of format. Okay. Then I want storyboards of the proposed digital ads. Again, I'll show you an example of that. Then the role of the advertising agency, budget, and target. So how much money you're willing to spend for an advertising agency to create the TV ad and the digital ads, the target audience and the role in the marketing mix, and then your unique selling proposition. Okay. Then I want to go through advertising appeals used for proposed TV and digital ads. We're only going to cover TV and digital ads for this particular creative development. And then students are free to decide on the dimensions, imagery, call to action, creativity. So the story you tell and the way you tell it is all up to you. You can decide. And again, I'm not going to judge you based on your I want to see that you're creative, but I'm not going to mark you down if it's not the most creative out of the box idea. But I want to just see that you're able to apply this the strategy behind it. Okay. And then execution and measurement. So I just want to see a blocking chart of your proposed timeline, placement, estimated budget, and then estimated impressions. And again, today, I'm going to walk through what a blocking chart looks like. Okay. Simple rubric. Just follow, again, please read this in great detail. I give you all the information, like what font to use, size of the font, length. This should not exceed 15 pages, and 15 pages including like your title page, your storyboards. Like a storyboard might take up 3 pages. And again, don't feel like don't feel intimidated by that, because I'll show you exactly what that will look like. Okay. And then that's it. Questions. I'm going to open it up to questions.
Hello, Professor.
Hello.
I have some questions, not specifically like regarding these assignments, but like in general. First I have like a question about the evaluation peers for the assignment. I think you released it with a date of March 29th, and you released it today, so it says that the assignment is already due. And also
I'll remove the due date for that, so you can just submit it when you're able to submit it for your client brief, and then I'll have you submit another one for this assignment. So
okay,
I'll
great, thank
update
you.
that today.
Also, I have another question, and it's regarding the grading in all the other assignments. I have not received any grade for this class, and I'm kind of worried because I don't know how I'm doing like so far.
Yeah, so thank you. I meant to bring that up today. So I marked everyone's first two your assignment number 1, and the class average was an 80. So well done for that. I've uploaded it all. I just need to push it live. So I'll do that tonight, and then everyone's midterm, actually the class average was a 75. So great job to everyone for that one as well. I'm just waiting for a couple of other people to submit, and then I will push that live hopefully by Monday. But for those that have completed, let me see what I can do with posting. I might have to wait for everybody to submit. Let me check. I might need to wait for everyone to submit, which will be Monday. You'll see it. But overall, like especially those that have been attending class, everyone did very well. But I know you still want to see your assignment and your feedback as well. So I'll be posting assignment 1 for sure today, and then midterm definitely by Monday. And then I'm almost done the client briefs, but overall, the ones that I've marked so far have been really, really good. I'm very impressed.
Okay, great, thank you. And lastly, I just have another question, like regarding this assignment.
Mhm.
I think you explained that we have to choose like a company. I'm not sure. Where can I find the company that we have to choose for doing this particular assignment, the integrated marketing communication plan?
Yeah, so whatever client or whatever brand and campaign you had for your client brief is going to be the same one you do for this. Okay.
Okay, great.
So what that means is it's a little bit confusing because they already have the campaign already fully fledged out, right? So it's like it kind of seems like you're copying them, but what I want you to do is reimagine it. So they had their, do you know how you had to kind of go, you work backwards, right? Where we had this campaign, you see this launch, and then you create a client brief pretending like you're fast forward before that campaign actually launched and how you would actually identify the criteria that would make someone create that campaign. So
Oh, okay.
what we're doing now is we're pretending like you're starting from complete scratch with that client brief. Like you briefed yourself in with that client brief you did with your group, and now you're creating something new.
Um, Professor, can I clarify? So that you means like because for my group, the campaign is a very digitally heavy online campaign. So
Yeah,
I shouldn't reference to that, but then just like imagine that like so I shouldn't research too much of what they have done actually, but then just try to imagine what they will be doing with that idea and flesh it out.
exactly. So you can do a lot of research on their previous ads just to understand their tone of voice, the way they
Okay.
like to communicate with their audience. Maybe that'll help you understand better their brand identity. But yeah, to your point, you're reimagining it in a new way.
Okay, so I shouldn't use the exact campaign idea that they've used. Like, say for mine is a decathlon on the
Oh
um
yeah. Yeah.
disability sign to basically make it possible ability.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I shouldn't use the exact wordings for that, right?
Exactly. Try to come up with your own idea. Pretend like that client brief is what you're working off of, not that campaign that you've already seen. So then
Okay.
you're coming up with, okay, let's see what other way, like you're still going after the same audience. You can still express the same concept and idea, but try to come up with your own creative material. So instead of yeah, that was a really good campaign. But they basically put, instead of disability, it was ability, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, try to find a way to communicate that in a different way, like different words. Um,
Okay.
and again, for this one in particular, we for the creative development piece, you're only doing TV and digital ad. And then for the blocking chart, I want you to think more. Like if you were to do all of the stuff, how would you time it? How much would you put towards social media? How much of your budget would you put towards social media? How much of your budget would you put towards TV? How much of it would you put towards direct response marketing if you choose that those are the right avenues? Okay.
Sure. And do I need to give an explanation, say, on the why the allocation of the percentage of budget in this channel, that channel, or I put a number there, it's fine.
For, yeah, for this purpose, just the number is fine. I just want to see, it's really the practice of completing a blocking chart that
Okay.
I'm more focused on.
Okay.
Okay. But
Professor, sorry, go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say, anytime you choose to explain yourself is always a good thing. It's never gonna count against you, and it'll always, if anything, it'll help make your case, right? So if you feel like, okay, I maybe spent a crazy dollar amount on social media and maybe it's not clear as to why I would have done that, feel free to provide an explanation. But if you don't, I'm not going to count against it as long as the media blocking chart is completed properly.
Cool. Thank you.
No problem.
Professor, I do have a question about the individual assignment too. So it's not showing for me, like what's the assignment's just not showing. I don't know what's the question and how to answer it. So
Yeah, so individual assignment 2, it's going to be something very similar to this project, but we're going to do it in class next week. So it's not going to be like a take home. It's going to be very easy. Like I'm trying to keep it as realistic to outside world as possible, but also I want it to be something that's practical. So we're going to do it in class next week. And it's going to be more of a creative exercise rather than like a strategic exercise, because we've done quite a bit of strategic, like all of your assignments have been more around the strategic part of IMC. So this next assignment is going to be more about the creative part. Similar
Okay.
to this creative development, it'll be something like that.
So Professor, this is the group assignment or the individual one?
Sorry?
Is this the group assignment or individual?
Yeah, the one I just walked you through is a group assignment.
I saw in the weekly schedule that there is another individual assignment too.
Yeah, that's going to be next week.
Oh, all right then.
Professor, so can I just check on the individual assignment too? You mentioned that will be done in class tomorrow, next week. Does that mean that we will need to be in class and then aim to finish it and submit it by then, or there will be an extended time for us to complete as well?
Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be like a in-class activity, not like
Okay.
I don't want you to feel like too stressed about it being an assignment. It's more of an activity. As long as you participate, you'll get your mark and participate properly, right? Like not just like fill it, like be silly about it. But yeah, like if you feel like you want to take it home and submit it a week later, that's totally fine. But I think most of you will feel like last semester, everyone submitted it like in class as we did the activity together, and
I think so.
everyone did well. Yeah.
Professor, quick one, please. A timeline just popped up on my activities stream that I didn't do my peer evaluation. So I kind of forgot.
I answered that earlier. I'm going to remove the due date for that. So
Okay.
you all can submit as you, I thought it was released, but I guess it wasn't. So I apologize for that, but I will remove the due date for that so you can
All right,
submit
thank
it.
you.
Yeah. Okay, does that make sense?
Then when it is due?
This one is going to be due the last week of class. I believe the last class, like the semester closes on April 19th, so I'll make it due April 19th.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? Okay, so as a reminder, next week, I'm going to have you we're going to work on individual assignment number 2. I've done it in a way where I've incorporated your again, it's more of an activity, but you're going to get your marks for your assignment for that. But I've incorporated in a way so that you're also getting the content from the class in the assignment as you do the assignment as well. So you're still going to be getting you're still not going to be missing a lecture because we're applying that knowledge into the assignment. And if you feel the need to take it home and submit it later at a later date, I'm okay with that. But I found all the semesters I've taught in the past, everyone has submitted. If you come to class and you do it during the class period, everyone has submitted it. If you're not able to make it to class, that's okay. I will just email me if you are unable. I'll send a reminder to everyone. If you're unable, just email it to me so that before class starts, I can at least send you what that activity is, and then you can work on it when you can. Okay, so that's part 1 of next week. Part 2 of next week is I'm going to give you time to work on this assignment with your group. I will be available the entire time. So if you've already worked on parts of it and want me to like review, or if you have questions about it, I'm happy to go over it or tell you if you're on the right track. So again, half of class is going to be lecture plus individual assignment number 2, and then the other half is going to be this group assignment, and you can have working session for the rest of the class slash Q&A for that assignment. Does that make sense?
Hi, Professor.
Hi.
For next week, the the individual assignment supposed to be finished during the lesson. So could we have it online, or we have to attend it in person?
No, so if you're not able to attend, no, yeah, sorry. Yeah, if you don't have to come in class like in person to the campus, I'll have Zoom on as well. Is that your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, just this normal class, how we do Zoom or in person, same format. So again, like I don't think anyone's gonna want to take it home and work on it. Like I think it's gonna be yeah, I'm telling you, I've taught this course every other class I've taught, they've all submitted it. No one's taken it home. But if you feel the need to, we can have a chat about, I'm not going to be strict about that timeline. Because it's like, obviously I'm giving it to you and we're working on it together. So anyway, like I'm not going to be, everything needs to be due by the 19th because that's the last day of class. So we can say that, but I really don't think anyone's going to want to take it home and work on it. Any other questions? I know it's like, I feel like no one wants to believe how simple that is, but I really, I'm trying to make life easy on you all, but still make sure you're getting the information you need. So I've kind of combined the lecture with the assignment. And I've also, like, I don't want you to have to stress about an assignment when you could be, I'd rather you stress about this project or this group assignment than your individual assignment. So I'm trying to make it stress-free. Believe me, okay? Okay. So first off, let's go through a storyboard. What can anyone tell me what a storyboard is?
A storyboard is an illustration of, usually you will be used for like advertisements or a video production where you will put some frame like say what the image will look like or what the scene will look like, and then besides it you probably will have some like the script so that when you go through it then you will be kind of the entire story, like the way to help you tell the story.
Exactly, good. And why do we or why would a storyboard be important? Like why not just start filming an ad?
Otherwise I think it will be a really waste of money because while you know, video production is very you know, use a lot of money, so you want to make sure that the client are in agreement with the storyboard first before you get the actual production done.
Okay, good. Anybody else have a reason why? No? No other reason why you would have to do a storyboard? Let me think of a good let me think of a good question, a better question to ask. Okay, I can't think of a better way to phrase this question, but let's say we know we want to do a TV ad, right? But spending money on a TV ad is going to be $4 million. And in, let's just say, for example, let's say we've decided we're going to do a TV ad and we're going to use an animator to do it instead of live action. And we've found a great illustrator, animator, and he's projected that a 30-second spot in 3 different formats is going to be, you know, the total budget is going to be $4 million. If I go to the CMO of a company, a chief marketing officer, and I say, we want to do, and he's willing to give us $10 million. And I'm like, okay, we're going to spend almost half of the budget on a TV ad. A storyboard can help convince him why it would be important to spend that, especially that amount. I'm not saying that this is probably a bad example because in most cases, you wouldn't spend half your budget on one TV ad, but I'm just using it because it's easy math, or I should say 40% of your budget. But it's a good way to show, look, here's our storyboard. And you're selling the idea to the people that need to spend on the idea. If anybody has seen Mad Men, they used to pitch back in the old days. Actually, we still do now sometimes. But part of pitching business is creating storyboards. And the reason why it's such a big part of pitching to a business is because you're showing how that message and how that creative is actually going to work. And that's what creates that buy-in. Okay. So it's a really great and useful tool for a pitching. Oh, I'm assuming everyone understands what I mean by pitching. But basically, if you have an idea and you want somebody to buy into it, it's a great way to show and prove to them you can't 100% guarantee it, but you can prove to them why this is a message in a format and a story that will be effective. Okay. But what Karen had mentioned is definitely the number one reason, which is before you start filming, obviously you need to make sure you're organized and you have you need to know all the things you need to shoot and to incorporate so that after you've created it, you're not like, oh, I missed this one scene, I need to go back and film it, right? So at least you've organized everything and you've created all the components of the story so that when you're ready to begin development, you know you're more focused in on what is required. Okay, so here is an example of a storyboard. Now, for your assignment, let me share my screen. For your assignment, I want minimum 6 frames. Okay, but you can do more, and it can be sorry, let me just, okay, here we go. You can see my screen, right? Okay, and I'll upload this to Blackboard. But so minimum, I want 6 frames. And basically, and again, you can do more. You could do, actually, I don't want less. 6 or more. And you can make it, 6 will be on 1 page, but you can have, if you decide to do 18 frames, that'll take up maybe 3 pages. Whatever you decide with your team, what would be effective. But minimum 6 frames, which would be on 1 page. Okay, your storyboard doesn't need to be this detailed in terms of the creative, like you don't need to draw like, I don't know, train, like, is that like a plane? Actually, if it's part of the commercial and it's an important part of the story, be sure to include it, but it doesn't need to be like a perfect drawing. It doesn't need to be like, don't feel pressure to make the art of it perfect, or even, just make it good enough for me to understand that it's a kid sitting in a chair sort of thing. Okay, but I'm not judging you on your your art skills. And then you can include color, or you don't need to include color. There are some storyboards that are like, you can take pictures of people and just put it into a frame. So, I'm not gonna, if you draw it, if you hand draw it, I'm okay with that. If you use stick figures, that's okay as well, as long as, again, I understand what's happening in the frame. So one box here is called a frame. Okay. And we go left to right, and then left to right to the from top to bottom. Okay. So again, this would be frame 1. This would be frame 2. You can see my cursor, right? Okay. This is frame 3, frame 4, frame 5, frame 6. Okay, so each box is called a frame. And that's important because if you are speaking about your storyboard, and then you can just reference, oh, in frame 6, there's going to be a plane. If you're pitching to it, and the frame 6 is going to be the closing of our commercial, blah, 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 blah. So it's important to understand that each box is called a frame, and we're numbered from left to right, top row, and then bottom row. Does that make sense? Perfect. Okay. The thing that this example does not include, which I would like to see in yours, is a little description of what's happening as well, just in case I maybe mistake a cat for a bunny or whatever. It's good to just put a one sentence. Like here, you would put a kid is sitting, like a 2-year-old kid sitting in a high chair, and Cheerios is, a box of Cheerios is overlaid on top. Okay, here, frame 2, the one sentence would be, the 2-year-old is excited to see the Cheerios being poured into a bowl, and then so on and so forth. Okay, frame 5 would be a mother feeding her 2-year-old child Cheerios. Okay, so just a very brief, like a one sentence description of what's happening in that storyboard, and that would go right below. So I'll again, when I upload this, I'll upload with that as an example. Okay. Any questions on this?
Professor,
Yeah.
so we can use AI for creating these images.
Yeah, if you want, if it fits, but I don't want random images. But if it makes sense, and if it's relevant, and it flows properly, like this clearly flows, right? I know what's happening. He's, getting fed, and then, he's, all of this stuff is happening, right? And I understand that the mom is making these sounds of a train, of a motorcycle, of a plane, so that he actually eats the Cheerios. So as long as, if you want to generate AI like for each frame, that's okay. But the story needs to make sense and flow properly. Okay?
Yeah, okay, got it. Thank you.
No problem. I'm all about using real life tools you would use out like in the real world. I'm all about that. But at the same time, we can't use it blindly, right? So if you use it in an effective way and it makes sense, please do. Like, to me, it's not bad if you do that, but it's not necessarily ideal, because you're not actually I mean, you still have to tell AI what to put into each frame, so that's fine. But if there's something random in the frame that AI generates, and it doesn't make sense, then you'll be docked. Right here, you at least have full control of what's actually being put into the image. But again, I'm all about using the tools you would use in your, if you're a marketing manager at Cheerios and that's what your company uses, AI, then for sure. Why wouldn't we? Any other questions on this? No? Okay, perfect. So this should be a fun activity, actually. Like, in my opinion, it's a fun activity. Hopefully no one is feeling pressure about the art part of it, but I do want you to flex as much creativity as possible, right? I want to see that you're able to think outside of the box, and that you are coming up with unique ideas. So I'll be judging you on creativity, but I won't be judging you on, sorry, I'll be marking you on creativity, but I won't be marking you on your art skills. Okay? Does that make sense? I'm going to take silence as a yes. Okay.
Okay, I think.
Perfect.
I'm not very good at drawing, but yeah.
No worries. I'm not that good either. So that's the big reason why we're not illustrators as marketers. So you wouldn't be doing this. You wouldn't be having to do this in real life, but you would have to help concept some of the storyboards. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is a script. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'll upload all these examples, but I want you to have creativity as to how you present it to me. Okay. Okay. Oops. Where's Zoom? Here we are. Okay. Okay, so here's an example of a script, and that you're gonna do as well. And this is like a supplementary document that you'll be presented. Like, it's gonna be the same thing as your storyboard, but it's just presented in a different way. Okay. You put your shooting location. If it's like, this is an illustration, like, still, is it like, is this set inside someone's house? Is it set inside of an office space? Is it downtown Toronto? Just give me like some like background information as to the setting of the location, the actors involved. And you don't need to put like the actors' names, but you can put like a 12-year-old kid or a couple, a young couple, or like a small family, two wives and a daughter, or something. Like, give me, like, instead of actors, maybe characters. I'll change it to characters. And then forget about editor. I'm not going to be looking at that. So on the left side, you're going to be explaining what's happening in the video. So cut to Ava slowly skating along boards. Cut to Elmer slightly displeased. Cut to Ava, the obviously character, nods towards Megan. So when you provide me your actor or your characters, if it's like a 12-year-old kid named Zach, and then you would, mention Zach in your video explanation, but it's basically like a play-by-play of what's happening in your storyboard, okay? And then the audio, if you choose to have audio. Sometimes some storyboards have all this combined into one line. So instead of having it split from video to audio, it would be cut to Ava slowly skating. Guys, I don't know how much longer we'll be here. And then cut to Elmer. Like, it would be kind of line by line, like a Word document. But I want you to split it up into a video. Just make sure it somewhat aligns to, do you see how it's like cut to Ava, and then you can see that her dialogue is before the next scene that cuts? Just make sure it's formatted in that way. Like I can see what's linear and what happens after what. Does that make sense? And in fact, you can even label it. You can say like video, like 1, cut to Ava, slowly skating. Audio 1, Ava, guys, I don't know how much longer we'll be here. Okay? Okay. Perfect. Any questions on this? Amazing. And then the last thing I want to go over is your lovely blocking chart. So what I will do for the blocking chart is I will give you a template. It's going to take me a while to find my exact template, but this is what essentially it will look like. Hold on. Is this it? No. Well, that's not it. Okay, I'm going to use this as an example because this is probably the best one for now. Okay, perfect. I think this is a good example. Okay, so basically the chart will have your month and then your weeks. What I'll do is not here, but on the side I'll have a legend, and I'll provide all the forms of like all the different types of channels you can commute, like direct response, social media, digital advertising, TV commercial. I'll list everything out. And then what you can do is select whichever ones you choose to use for your blocking chart. And then you would place it underneath advertising campaign. Okay, so that will be all the way on the left side. So let's say, take for example, this one is specifically radio, and they've selected, let's take this one, CKMB FM 107.5. I'm not going to ask you to do that level of detail. All you would have to do is like radio, and then you would do March week 4 to April week 4. Okay. And then social media, you're going to do it year round. And then what I'm going to do is these colors, I'm going to have it be like, I want that to be like associated with your budget. So I'll again put another legend that has like 20% of your budget, 50% of your budget, 10% of your budget. And I'll give you your budget, and you can do your calculations of, you know, if it's $10,000 out of $1 million, you can do your math and then put the colors associated with it. Does that make sense? So it'll be like a range. If it's like less than 10% of your budget, it'll be orange. If it's 11% to 25%, it'll be yellow. You know, it'll be something like that. And then you can highlight it. All the cell, and you would only highlight the cells you choose would be relevant. So for example, if you part of your campaign, you feel, let's take, actually, I don't want to use that example because you're actually going to do your project on it, but let me think of an example. Oh, let's do roll up the rim. So roll up the rim, let's take, for example, because it's, what month is it? It happens in March, right? Because it happens in March, you would do sweepstakes, or it's called a sweepstakes, right? Sweepstakes. And then you would do March week, I don't even know. It just ended, right? Let's say March week 3 to week 4. Okay, and you would just highlight those 2 sections. Okay. And then if you're doing, because you're doing roll up the rim, you're going to maybe beef up some of your digital ad. No, let's just take, for example, you're going to beef up some of your digital ads to promote it before, so that once week 3 gets started and the sweepstakes starts, you have people already like excited about it. You would maybe put your budget for social media, maybe for week 1 and 2, instead of it being orange, it would be like red, because red is a higher portion of your budget. Okay, so you know, you could do something year round like social media, but you can select, you know, I'm going to do even, you know, I'm going to put greater emphasis on certain weeks or certain months. And so you can change those colors depending on those important timelines. Does that make sense?
Professor,
Mhm.
for this, is this something we have to submit in our assignment?
It's going to be part of your group assignment.
But so in our assignment we have to do something like a storyboard, a theme, but here we have different media, and so for the same piece of advertisement or advertising outcome product, so we post it on different channel. Is it what you mean? Or we have to do something like for Facebook, we have to do something like the hard copies, I mean the printing, and then for YouTube we have like a video. I don't quite understand.
No, so this your blocking chart, I want you to think holistically. If you were to run a campaign for this, you're running a campaign, right? For your IMC plan. Your blocking chart is just thinking holistically to promote this campaign. I would do social media, I would do, X, Y, and Z. Okay, so let's take, for example, my campaign is roll up the rim. These are all the ways what you would put here under advertising campaign. You would put all the ways you would choose to promote it if you were to run that campaign. Okay. Now the commercial and the digital ads, the commercial is just like, we're just thinking, if I were to do a commercial, I'm just going to do a storyboard, but the blocking chart is thinking holistically of your whole plan. So you don't need to actually develop all of these things. I just want you to think, okay, these are other ways I would promote my campaign. Did that clarify anything?
Okay, so so the storyboard will be more like our main idea for what we would like to campaign. But for this chart, we just assuming we have some product based on our storyboard or the video, and then it will plan to have allocate different resources to different channel due to the life cycle. Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I'm only asking you to I want you to come up with an idea, and the way you're showing me that idea is through the storyboard of the TV commercial. But I also know that when you have an idea, or obviously with this idea, if you were to actually run it in real life, you would do other things besides a TV commercial as well, right? So I want to see what other form, like you have an audience and you need to target this audience with your idea. So what other ways would you target your audience? And that's the blocking chart. But that actual idea, I want to see it. I want you to stress some of your creativity muscles. And so that would be the blocking chart. Sorry, the storyboard and the TV commercial. Does that make sense? No? Yes? No? Here, is the roll up the rim, let's go for, okay, let me try to think of, okay, let's say you're deciding for your campaign, you're gonna do, let's go with the roll up the rim idea. Let's pretend we've come up with this roll up the rim idea. The storyboard for the TV commercial is how you would advertise roll up the rim on a TV commercial. Okay, so however you choose to do that, I want to see that idea come to life in the storyboard and how that would show on a TV commercial. Okay, but to get your audience to see and participate in roll up the rim, you would need to target them in as many different marketing channels that would identify with your audience, right? Like if you go to Tim's, they have like social ads, they have digital ads, they have they've changed their website to include a banner on, you know, they have PR associated. So I don't need to see creative and the strategy behind all of the different ways you would communicate it to your audience, because I'm just asking you to list how you would do it. Like you would have a press release, so you would put PR and it would be, you know, February, week 1 of February. But I don't need you to actually write a press release and tell me where the press release will be going in terms of like, it'll be launched on all these different websites and newspapers and blah, blah, blah. I just want you to show me, okay, to get people to know about Roll Up the Rim, I'm going to do PR, I'm going to do digital ads, I'm going to do social ads, I'm going to have XYZ. But I want to see what Roll Up the Rim looks like. I want whatever is in your head and you're imagining, I want to see how you would create it. And so that's the storyboard. That's the TV commercial. You're pretending, okay, I'm creating a storyboard for this campaign. This is what it would look like in a TV commercial.
Where our advertising campaign
Yeah.
already there, we're using that idea or target audience, whatever.
You're using that target audience. Yeah. So J-Bomb just asked, what you're going to do is you're going to take that client brief that you created for the last project with your group. You're taking that target audience, you're taking that same, like you're taking that client brief and you're creating a campaign. So it can look similar to the actual campaign of like the whatever campaign you were basing it off of, but I want you to come up with your own original idea. It can have the same message, like empowering people that have different abilities, right? That was the key message, Karen, of your group's campaign. So you would still communicate that, but you would communicate in your own way.
So basically, we're using the same target audience.
You're using the same
We're
target
putting
audience.
the same message.
Yeah.
But we're using the different approach to get to that customer.
Exactly. So you're using the same target audience, the same the same idea. You're just creating a different way to say it and communicate it, just so I can see that you're just so that I can have you create something and try to come up with your own idea in terms of how to communicate it. But you can communicate Roll Up the Rim and call it Flip the Cup. I don't know, it's terrible. But do you see what I'm saying? It's still the same concept of it's a sweepstakes, it's the same audience, it's the same idea, but I've come up with my own name for it. I'm gonna have, instead of it being on a cup and instead of it being red, I'm gonna make it black. I'm gonna make it, so you same target audience, same idea. You're just finding a different way to communicate it and express it. Okay. The only thing I'm asking you to create is the TV ad. And then I just want you to show me all these different ways of campaigning might be the same way like the current campaign already does it. I just want to see that you're thinking through all the different ways of promoting your campaign. Okay, so start talking with your groups. Next week, again, half the class will be dedicated as a working session for you to be working on this with your group. I will be available here online and in person. So if you have any questions, if you want me to review, we can on Zoom, we can break out into different groups so that I can speak to individual groups. Or if you're here in person, I can speak to you in person about your if you have any questions, or if you want me to see your storyboard or your blocking chart and help you, guide you with whether you're on the right track or not, happy to do that. So next class, we'll split it up into the 2 parts, but you will have that opportunity. Okay. Any other questions?
Professor,
Yep.
Can you share all the templates of those for example
Yeah.
the block chart for us?
For sure. I'm going to do that tonight. It's going to look, it's not going to be 100% like this. It's going to look similar to this, but I'm going to have a different legend. And again, I'll have an example of one that's filled out and then one that's just a blank template. So then you can see what what I want, how you should fill it out. And, you know, you'll have the template so you can fill it out yourself.
Okay,
But yeah,
thank you, Professor.
Yeah, I'll upload the template. I have a template for this. I will share with you the example of the storyboard and the example of the script. But those two things, the script and the storyboard, you have control over how you want it to look. So I'm not expecting it to be in a specific template. You can feel free to follow the examples I've given you because that includes all the details I want you to include, but it doesn't need to look the same way. If you, instead of having 3 frames, you can do 2 frames, 2 frames, 2 frames. Okay, or you can do 4 frames across one row and then 4 frames below.
Okay, thank you, Professor. And one more issue for the learning content.
Yeah.
For week 8, it is still empty in the folder.
Yeah, week 8 was reading week.
Oh, okay. So there's nothing in it?
No, because we didn't have a lecture on during reading week.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, so there was no week 8 was reading week, so there was not, we didn't go over any content or anything.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I will upload all of those today. Let me just share.
Hey, Professor, when you're done, can I talk to you for like 5 minutes?
Yep. You sure can. Okay. We today are going to talk about direct response. Download those. Oh, you know what? Okay, so today we're going to talk about direct response advertising. This is actually one of my favorite forms of advertising, and it sounds really weird because it's probably one of the most boring forms of advertising. But the reason I like it is because, number one, it just works really, really well. And it sounds crazy because we are all so used to social media and talking about digital. And yeah, direct response, there are digital formats of direct response and direct marketing in terms in the digital space. But it's not like the fun parts, like it's email and it's SMS and it's like push notifications. So like I'm sure all of you get annoyed with all of these types of communications, and I get annoyed by all these types of communications, but they are so effective. It's incredible. In fact, at my job, all the jobs that I've had, most of our resources go towards direct response advertising. And when I say resources, it doesn't just mean budget or money. Sometimes it's the team's time. Even if we're spending more money on like out of home media, the team spends more time on like CRM, which is email and SMS, versus having to create, like, you know, our creative team spends way more time on emails than we do on like print ads or digital, or out of home, just because their email and SMS specifically are just, we do so much of them. It's like, I'm sure all of you know how many emails, like every week do you receive from one brand? Think of all the resources it takes for just one email to be sent by a large corporation. A lot. Like you wouldn't maybe not realize, but you've got your marketing manager that's come up with the concept. You have their director that's have to sign off on it. Then you have maybe a marketing coordinator that has to come up with all the material that should be included in it. Then you have your creative team, the people that are coming up with how the layout should be. Then you have your copywriter. Then you have a project manager for that. Then you have the developers who are in the back end who are like formatting and developing, obviously, the emails. Then you have your analytic. Like there's so many working components in and that's just one email that needs to be sent out. So, and I didn't list off all the people that are involved or all the different touch points of having to deploy one email. But it takes so many resources to launch CRM and direct response advertising, period, because it's so personalized. But it's so effective, it's so relevant, and it's so engaging that it really helps a campaign, it pushes a campaign to be even more successful. So that's why it sounds really nerdy to say like but it's one of the best parts about marketing. The reason I also like it is because you can be so targeted in your communication and personalized, you know. You can email people with a certain behavior and you can say, hi, hi, Karen, I noticed you were on our website and looked at this shoe. Here's 10% off if you decide to buy it by next week. So you can really personalize your communication and it goes directly to your audience. So it makes it highly relevant. Okay, so there's different forms: direct mail, direct response print, direct response television, direct response interactive, telemarketing, and catalogs. So I'm sure all of you know what direct mail is. Has anyone ever received like an interesting piece of direct mail that was really personalized and they were impressed and excited to receive it?
Not really for me.
No? Yeah, I haven't received something recently. I can't say I have recently, but in the past, there have been times where I was sent like a perfume bottle, like not like a big one, like one of those sample perfume bottles in the mail. I think it was Sephora or somewhere where they actually mailed it out to me, and I was surprised. But I remember, I don't know if it was Sephora, but there was a brand that sent me a little sample of a perfume. And I was like, that's really cool, because I had just purchased from them a month previously and they were trying to get me back into the store. But I haven't seen anything recently in the mail, like within the last couple of years, that has been personalized. And I guess the big reason it's not as popular nowadays is because of how expensive it is, right? I think like sending an email is per person doesn't cost much, but when sending direct mail, it can cost, even if it's $2 per person, if you're sending it to 10,000 people, that's a lot of, you're spending a lot of money just on a direct mail piece, right? The thing is, the chance of it being successful is very high because you've targeted and it's so personalized. Like I remember that I received unfortunately I don't remember the brand, but I do remember that I received something. So that's how like impactful it is. But at the end of the day, there are other, again, it also depends on your brand and what you're actually selling. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of other more effective forms based on your budget and cost. And all those details. Then there's direct response print, which is very similar, but it's, let me think of an example. I guess direct mail is part of it. Let me think of an example. I'll get back to this one. There's direct response television. So if you think of, if you're on the, there's a channel, not the shopping channel.
Is this
like-
something it's part of the QR code during when we watching the TV?
Yeah, that could be one. But I'm thinking more specific, like, oh, there's some that are religious, right? There's some TV channels, like back in the day, there was like and they still definitely have them, but there's some where you can, like, instead of going to church, you can watch a service on TV and it's televised. And then there's like a CTA, which is a call to action for people to donate. So it's like directly speaking to people because you've come, it's so specific in terms of it being about a religion, and you've come to it to be part of that community. So that's the reason why it's direct response. And then because there's a CTA involved where it's like donating, and you can call in, or if there's a QR code and you can, scan and donate, it's so personalized in that way, and it's so specific that would be included as direct response television. Okay. Direct response interactive, that would be like the QR code example. There's telemarketing, obviously, like I'm sure if any of you have Bell or Rogers or, any of those companies, they're always calling to sell you or upgrade you or get you to switch services. And then there's catalogs as well. So the best example here I can think of is if you've ever done like personalized cards for like holidays, sometimes those like Vistaprint. Sometimes Vistaprint will send you a catalog, or IKEA. That's another good example. If you've ever purchased like a kid's item at IKEA, they used to. I don't know if I don't think they do it anymore, but they sometimes send catalogs of and it might be more specific to like kids items, or like, how to furniture for a family home. So that would be a catalog. And then obviously it's like a booklet. We've done catalogs at Aeroplan as well. Print and digital forms too. We had a print one go out last year and the year before, and then it's also, we've ran with digital versions as well, so that they complement each other. But then obviously, as I already mentioned, and the most used as of, or the most growing one, CRM, which is email and SMS, and then mobile, which push notifications. And CRM, for those that don't know, is customer relationship management, but it's just a savvy way of saying like email campaigns and SMS campaigns, or both, email and SMS campaigns. Okay. And there's different ways of doing direct mail. There's, envelopes, there's sales letters, leaflets, folders, order forms, postage, DVDs, which I don't even know if half of you know what a DVD is. I'm sure a lot of you are too young to know what that is. And I'm not going to age myself. So if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. And I'm okay with that. If it's not real, it's like a cassette. And then direct mail strategy, again, it does eat up a lot of your budget when you do direct mail strategy or advertising, but the likelihood of someone even considering a purchase or whatever action you've asked them to take is so much higher than any other form, because it's actually physically in their hand, right? Because they're actually seeing it, they have to do something with it. it's not just a scroll and ignore. It's like there's something in their hand that they can't just, I mean, they can throw it out, but you still have to do something with it. There's just a higher likelihood that they'll at least remember or know about it, and the awareness level is greater, but also just the conversion is a lot higher too. Okay. And there's different forms. There's solo direct mail, which would be like an individual prepared offer sent directly to prospects. Cooperative direct mail, one envelope contains special offers from non-competing products. And then dimensional mail that stands out from standard looking direct mail pieces and takes any form other than typical flat piece of mail. Okay. And 89% of people will open a direct mail piece if it comes from a company they know. 86 will open if it looks intriguing, and 79% will open it if the mail bears their name and address on it. So think last class we talked about click-through rate on digital banners, right? And we saw that that percentage is quite low, like considering all things, it's low, like it could be somewhere around 5%. Whereas here, even though this isn't necessarily a click-through rate, but we can compare click-through rate with open rate. That's 89%. Like that likelihood of someone opening is so much greater. However, your audience is a lot smaller, right? So it might be 89% of 10,000 people, whereas a digital banner might be 5% of 100,000 people. Okay, so those are the things to consider as well. Advantages of direct mail, audience selectivity, obviously, again, because it costs a lot more and you have to be so much more personalized and it has to be printed. It's not a digital format that you can quickly change. You have to be very careful about the audience you select. There's high reach because you're going directly. Geographic flexibility, obviously, if you want to be able to target someone in Toronto or in Vancouver, you have the ability to do it. Creative flexibility, if you can make it a package, you can make it one image on a flyer, whatever you choose. Distribution of incentives, exclusivity, and measurability. All of those are huge advantages of direct mail, but the disadvantages, again, high cost per exposure, absence of editorial support. So you can put a QR code there. You can have a link there so that people can put it into their phone, like, do it on their own. But it's not as simple as literally just clicking a button and it taking you to a website for more information or to immediately sign up or purchase. And then image and lifespan. So, you might send something this month, but it might not be relevant in 2 months, right? So just the lifespan of the content is something to consider as well. Okay, so buying direct mail. Well, there are 3 basic steps involved in buying direct mail. So first, you need to obtain a direct mail list. So a lot of the times a company will have a list of people they want to target, and they have those addresses, the information provided. Right. So let's take, for example, Seneca College wants to send alumni a list of continuing education courses. Right. They already have the list of alumni or alumnus, I guess, and their email addresses. Right. So that would be an internal source. External source, so response list, circulation list, compile list. These are all lists that you can purchase from companies that have received an opt-in from their audience, that they say, I'm allowing you to share my information with your partners. And you can go to a source and purchase a list, and you can say, if you go to a company and you say, I want to buy a list of contacts from you, but I want these contacts to be between the age of 30 and 55. I want them to all be tennis players. I want them to all be high income have high income. And then they would be able to compile, find a list of however many people that is and send that to you. So there's different companies that have that, have those lists available so that you can target and segment and purchase. After you've obtained your list, you create your material and then you distribute. It's very simple. Went through that. So external sources, yeah, again, some of the ways that people have opted in, they've proven mail order buyers. There's magazine subscription lists that target based on interest or activity. And then there's compiled lists prepared from government, census, telephone, warranty. Again, these are all regulated, so you can't buy a list from a company that doesn't have opt-in from that customer specifically. Here's an example of a circulation list. And this just kind of shows you the cost of renting a direct mail list. Okay, so if I zoom in, you can see, remember, $10 per thousand, which is the 10,000. Okay, so this product is for consumer pets. List size is 3 million. The minimum order of the contacts is 5,000, and the base cost is 100 per thousand. Okay, so they expect a minimum payment of $500, and you'll receive a list of 5,000 people if you choose to do that. And then it gives you the summary on the left side of all the details included in it. Okay. Okay, and then distribution. The most common means is direct mail. The most common means of delivery for direct mail is Canada Post. Some options include addressed mail, unaddressed mail, business reply mail, catalog, or multiple page publications. So sometimes catalogs don't include any sort of personalization because they've just created something that's very generic. But sometimes they've made it very personalized so that, only people that purchase family products at IKEA will get that catalog, and then people who purchase business items at IKEA will get a different catalog. So there's different ways of doing that. Okay, direct response television. There are two forms. There's short form commercials, which is 120 seconds or less, and there's long form, so 30 or 60 minutes, or infomercials, or they can be, and again, they can be also like more religious type of, anything that's like televised, that's very specific, like religious televised programs, things like that. Advantages, message content, numerous benefits can be communicated in detail. Demonstration, added time allows for lengthier and more dramatic demonstrations. Cost, production and media cost of short commercials are less than traditional TV ads. And flexible, message can be altered if necessary. And then the disadvantage is time. Even a 60-second commercial faces time constraints, especially nowadays when we're so used to like very, very short, quick forms of content, like 7 seconds on Instagram or TikTok or wherever. Holding someone's attention for 60 seconds, obviously you need to make sure that it's highly engaging, but also highly relevant. Lifespan, commercials are fleeting, frequency is necessary. So you need to be able to adapt and pivot as much as possible. And then image, consumers are often skeptical of the message. Are their claims believable? If you say 100% guaranteed or your money back, sometimes it seems like it's still like fake or it's a scam. So a lot of the times if a company continues to put that same message out, and sometimes if you hear it in the same voice from the same person, it just sounds so scammy. People often don't believe that type of messaging. So just making sure that your image is always being portrayed in the most truest form is very important. And direct home shopping is a service provided by cable. So the shopping channel would also be considered direct response television. I'm not sure if any of you have ever seen, but they make a lot of money on the shopping channel. If any of you have seen like Dragon's Den or Shark Tank, one of the ladies, I think is Shark Tank. She's really big on PVC, which is the American version of the shopping channel. And they make a lot of money. There's a lot of people that are exposed to direct response television, and it still works. Okay, direct response print, communicating direct response offers through newspapers and magazines. So think like very specific type of magazines. If you're a car enthusiast, you might read a certain magazine that's tailored to high-end cars or whatever. I know nothing about cars, but I'm assuming there are some high-end car magazines that you can subscribe to. Think about different ways of being able to directly communicate with that audience. That would be an ad that you could be able to place there, or even on a website, and you're able to get prospects to take action immediately. Okay. Other forms of direct response print would be inserts and flyers. I forgot about the inserts. Inserts, a single or multiple page document inserted loosely or stitched directly into a publication. I'm sure all of you have seen this, especially in magazines, where you can put your information in there and send it back to the company, and they'll send you either sample, like whatever they're promoting. Sometimes it's sample, sometimes it's just the same publication or a previous version of the publication. And then there's flyers as well. And then direct response interactive. This is like a great way, like QR codes have really brought this, made this quite popular. Great way to get content from, into your hands, where you can take an action immediately. So you can buy now, find out more, explore now. Regardless of the call to action, the goal is always the same, and it's to click the ad. Okay, so it could be like even donate now, and all the real goal of it is just to get somebody to take the action. And then telemarketing, I already talked about this briefly. I mean, I'm sure all of you have gotten the call from Bell or Rogers or whatever phone service you use or internet provider you use. They're always calling to try to promote their services and get you to upgrade or resubscribe or switch. Okay. The CMA, or Canadian Marketing Association, has self-regulating policies for organizations to follow to protect personal privacy. So there's also a do not call list. So if you're on a do not call, like you can subscribe to be on that do not call list, and marketers were responsible for making sure that people that are on that do not call list do not get called, right? And there are different, if you get called when you have specifically subscribed not to be on that, to be on the do not call list, you can take legal action, because it is it's an issue around your privacy and your protection. Okay. Elements contributing to a successful telemarketing campaign. Number one, you need to focusing on the relationship. Like, even though nobody wants to receive a call from a telemarketer, if the call is relevant and the relationship is good with the brand, it really helps to make it an effective call. So having the ability to focus on that relationship is very important. Adjust the script approach for your audience and have it be flexible in a way where, depending on how the conversation goes, the telemarketer is able to direct it into a way that's effective for your brand, but still approachable and not too fixed in a way that it sounds like someone's talking to a robot. You want to empathize with the receiver and be able to create and establish rapport and keep attention. Keep it short, simple, be prepared, and make it easy to say yes. Okay. A lot of the time, sometimes I'm like, can you call me later? And they just say, yeah. Or sometimes they're like, oh yeah, but I'm going to be quick. And I'm like, leave me alone. Like, I don't ever say leave me alone, but it's like some telemarketers make it very difficult to get off the call, where you don't want to make it like that. You want to make it seem like you're on the same page as your audience.
Can I say something?
Yep.
So I'm also a telemarketer. So I do this every day, right? And for me, it varies on the situation, right? So sometimes when I say, hey, like when they sound like they want to get off the call, then I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna be a minute. And if they sound like okay, they're trying to give me the minute, then I'll go for it. And if not, I'll just be like, I'll call you later.
Yeah.
So it really
And
depends on the person, right? Sometimes you can sense it, like, oh, they're not really trying to have the chat.
yeah, exactly. And there's different approaches. Like, there's no, like, I mean, I'm sure there's wrong ways of doing it, but there's no like one way to do it. But the moral of the story here would be, you want to make it you want to be as human as possible. So if you
That's true, 100%.
if you are friendly and approachable and make it like you're having a conversation, it makes it more effective, as rather than making it seem like you're again, I hate to say the word, but you're a robot or a automated message, right? You want to be, the
Exactly.
human side of it is very important.
Yeah, that's the most important thing that I realized, because a lot of people tend to sound like robots because they feel like they are supposed to, but then humanizing is the easiest way.
Exactly. Yep. Good. And then catalogs. There's tons and tons of different catalogs out there. I can't say I've received many in the past year, whereas I used to receive a lot more. Like Vistaprint used to send me one, IKEA used to send me one, Sport Check, like depending on the certain seasons, like during Black Friday I receive, during the Christmas holiday season I receive some catalogs. But again, nowadays there's also like digital forms of catalogs as well. But it's still a very effective way to still communicate your message and get your products and services across, or your campaign across. So still being used today and still really relevant as well. Any questions on direct response? Amazing. Okay, so I will upload all the information that we talked about today, which means I will be uploading the storyboard example, the script example, and then I'm also going to upload the blocking chart. I'll remove the due date for your peer evaluation, and please do send me at your earliest convenience for your client brief. And then I will also ask you to do one on the 19th when you submit your group assignment as well. I think that's it.
Okay. Just whenever you're done, I can have that chat with you.
Yep, for sure. Oh, and then marks. Again, the assignment 1, the class average was around 80%. So overall, really good job. I will post your assignment number 1, and then for the midterm, the class average was around 75, I believe, 78, something like that. So again, overall, very good job. I'm going to see if I can upload the marks for those that have already submitted. I'm waiting for a couple of people still. So once I submit that, or sorry, once I receive those, I should have everything up definitely by Monday for your midterm. And I'm almost done the client briefs, but so far I'm really impressed with that work as well. So I know all of you want to still see your specific marks and plus the comments associated. So I'll do my best to get that to you as soon as possible. And then that way, next week we can just hit the ground running with the remaining parts of class, which will be your individual assignment and your group assignment. Individual assignment, again, we'll do it in class next week. I really don't think anyone's going to want to take it home, but if you feel the need to, we'll discuss in class tomorrow, in class next week. Yes, Toph?
Good afternoon, Prof. Thanks for the class. Sorry, I sort of missed out in submitting my group, peer evaluation for the group assignment. Is there any chance I'm able to do it again? I just didn't know how I missed out on that part.
Yeah, I said it a few times, but I'm gonna remove the due date for peer evaluation. So when at your earliest convenience, this is for the full class. I thought it was posted, but it was hidden. I don't this new anyway. I will remove the due date for that so that you all can submit at whenever you're able to.
All right, thank you, Prof.
Yep. Okay, well, that's class for today. Please stay tuned for those updates for what I just spoke of, and please have a great weekend. I'll see you all next week.
Right. So, Professor?
Yep.
So basically, what I wanted to talk to you about was, I finally got my access back on the 24th, which was 2 weeks
Send the
ago.
800 now. Yeah.
And
How much
I
did you
wanted,
spend? Was it 800? Yes, send the 800. I've told
Professor,
you what I
can you
have
hear me?
now. I have 500 or so before plus my this thing. That's
Sorry, go ahead.
Yo, Tope, your mic is on, by the way.
I muted him.
Okay. So yeah, I was saying that I got the access back on 24th. Finally, I was very happy. And the only thing was that I remember, you gave me you didn't give me the midterm. I actually arranged that for someone. And I got the questions. I did it and I submitted it in your email at the same time that you told me that on Saturday, right? So I had submitted that, but then I know I have to upload it on the dashboard. So I already done that, but then 3 days ago I uploaded it on dashboard, my midterm.
So
And
midterm will be different. It won't be the same as what the class did.
okay,
Yeah, so I'll have to send you a different one. Apologies for that. But yeah,
okay, no
it's
worries.
not the same one that everyone did on through Blackboard.
Okay, anyways, I submitted that. I can do it again, no worries. So I'll do that. And I also did the video assignment, the first one, and I
Yep.
uploaded it on YouTube. I hope you got to see that. I can upload that on the dashboard, but I would need you to allow me to access the thing because I tried to upload it,
No worries.
but
I
then it didn't
already
work.
have it.
Yeah, and I was just requesting, I really want to get over 50%. Like that's all I really like because I know I missed out on a couple things because of my access thing, but if I could just like, get the chance to be able to submit my work that I already did and then, pass the course, I'd really appreciate that.
Yeah, so I'll respond to you in email so that you can see. But as long as you've submitted the other assignments, you'll get the marks for those assignments. I haven't uploaded anybody's or I haven't published anybody's like marks yet. So I'll send an email about that. And so if after that email you don't see a mark for it, then feel free to let me know. But I've already accounted for your individual assignment.
I appreciate that. And also I'm just, I can upload it anytime, I can get the access to it and then that should be good. And I
You
also
already
know,
submitted
it's
through
gonna
email, so you don't need to resubmit.
Okay, perfect. And then next week we're gonna have that assignment in class, so that's gonna be one of them. And then you said on the 19th we're gonna be doing the group work as well. So I have access to my group members now. I have seen that two of them have posted their numbers on the chat, so I'll make sure I reach out to them and coordinate to be able to submit that work to you on the 19th.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your support, really, and I'm hoping to provide some good quality work.
Okay, good. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hello, Professor.
Yep.
Is there a final exam 2 weeks later?
Yeah, so there will be, but I'll go through the details of that. It's going to be very similar to your midterm.
Oh, so that's mean you will give us a case?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be like very, very similar. There's just going to be an additional couple of questions based on, but I'll go through specifically, I'll go through that specifically next week. And I'll upload some examples of it, but it's going to be very similar to your midterm.
Okay,
So
thank you.
yeah, so the notes from your midterm, like, the big thing I'm going to be looking for is whatever notes I provide you for your midterm is just applied to your final, but it's going to be same format. You're going to have a case and then questions, and then the same thing where you're going to have, I'm going to upload it. You'll have within, I think 2 or 3, I think I give you 3 days for your final, where you have within 3 days, as once you start it, you have 2 hours to complete it.
Okay, thank you, I understand.
Okay. I'll send an email about that. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.